Hey, it's Scott with Zenvi AI, and welcome to the Systems Are Sexy podcast. Today, we are with Dan Genzel. He's a co-founder of Multiply Capital. So Dan brings a unique approach to private equity, blending commercial real estate. He has some operating companies, e-com business as well. So Multiply Capital is a family-owned firm that's focused on long-term wealth, but also building a diversified portfolio that can adapt to changing markets. So welcome, Dan. How are you?
Good, Scott. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I always like to start with a background, how people got to where they are. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you to Multiply Capital?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I got started, like a lot of other people did in residential real estate. I bought my first duplex, coming out of college, and I was able to get some, creative financing done with, lo and behold, they owned some other properties. So I was able to build a little bit of a residential portfolio using mostly other people's money. But I quickly realized that I wanted to be in commercial real estate. So I became the world's lousiest commercial real estate broker's intern. And I was really, really focused on doing deals. So I got my real estate license. I became a broker and, it was a struggle in the beginning, but I quickly realized that marketing was the key to building that business. So I was able to kind of quickly scale my portfolio. And one day I just realized that the people across the table from me weren't that much smarter than me. As a broker, I was always fighting for fees and all this other kind of stuff. I basically almost broke every security law out there, started raising capital, and did my first deal. I remember it was like yesterday. My hand was literally shaking at the closing table. And I got that one done, and I went on to build a pretty good sized portfolio. And right now I'm on my journey to $100 million in deals. I'm probably like in the seventh inning of that. And I'm looking forward to, completing that portfolio. Along the way, when you get really good at doing something, people seek you out. So I've helped people get into commercial real estate. I've helped people start their other businesses. So I believe in giving back to an industry that's given me so much. So today I spend half my time, doing deals and the other half of the time building my other businesses, including my consulting business.
Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of talked about diversified. I can relate to that. I have a couple businesses, but I feel like a lot of people maybe shy away from that. So maybe you could kind of talk a little bit about that. What was the reasoning behind diversifying you into these other businesses?
I mean, it's simple. You look at my balance sheet, I was commercial real estate and I survived Great Recession. So I realized at that point, man, I've gotta get some other buckets of income and wealth generation. So, I started a construction company. I got into consulting. I was an investor in some other startups, and then obviously I do a bit of trading with my own capital. I can't remember who said it, but the diversification is kind of, in my opinion, not the solution, but it's just what you've got to do to branch off from your main focus.
Yeah, I agree with that. So when you're looking at a deal, what is your process? Is this just kind of based on your experience or using technology? What does that look like?
I believe that, it's systems and somebody really has to determine, okay, what is their purpose in doing, a commercial real estate deal? Are you trying to build a legacy and financial freedom, and this is your business, getting in and doing real estate? Are you an entrepreneur that is sick and tired of paying your landlord rent and you want to buy your own building and essentially pay yourself rent and control your own real estate? Are you a high net worth guy that wants to passively invest in somebody else's deals? So you really got to determine what your driver is. And then from there, it's all about, getting your performas done, understanding the real return that the real estate is going to generate, where are the risks, and can I do this deal? So, yeah.
And I think the kind of the purpose of this podcast is really just to determine how people have scaled their businesses. Because I think there's people watching that may be going, "Hey, I'm here, but I want to get to here. Like, what is the strategy?" So, to those people, what do you say is like the best way to scale a portfolio effectively, but also reasonably, where it's not like some pie in the sky stuff, but it's like this is something that you can make happen.
I think it's systems. And obviously, you got to do your first deal. And when I coach people, I tell them, you got to do anything you got to do to get into your first deal and do yourself a favor and make it a small one. And success breeds success. So my first deal was 99 grand. And so, but then I went on to build a really nice 8-figure portfolio. So part of systems, and like today a lot of it is automation and AI is here to stay, and AI right now helps me with lots of parts of my businesses. It helps me with doing outreach to find properties. It helps me with outreach to find investors and communicate with them. It helps me with generating my content. It is unbelievable how fast this is changing and getting better. I mean, 6 months ago, I was like, it's just not that good. But in the last 6 months, it is unbelievable the amount of progress that they've made.
Again,
And you're the expert.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, we live in that world, so we kind of see how things have evolved so quickly. Because I
Yep.
feel like a lot of people just use a small portion of the tools that are out there, because it's kind of overwhelming. How have you been able to integrate it into your business without being overwhelmed?
I think you just nailed it right on the head. You got to start. So you just got to do some real basic things with AI, like write a business plan, help me write an email to some brokers, for example, to show them my credibility. But I think the key is you've got to educate chat gpt or claude or whoever might be your platform of choice. They have to kind of get to know you. And I mean, I've just learned recently, you got to kind of treat AI like an employee to some extent. You got to train them, and you have to give them lots of background and help these AI prompts generate what you want it to. So I also use it to do a lot of research for me. I think around the corner, AI is going to be able to help analyze deals. I don't trust it at this point, but I know it's coming. So
So you mentioned a couple of tools that you're using. What strategies, just overall, whether it's AI or not, that have allowed you to attract investors, attract opportunities? Is it kind of like your sphere of influence, or is it other ways you've gone to get opportunities in front of you?
yeah, I mean, I think as far as, attracting deal flow, it's all about building credibility. Okay. Because, when a broker looks at you like for the first time, because I was a broker, so I can say this, they're kind of thinking, is this guy really going to be able to do a deal? So you have to demonstrate your credibility, and that is your track record, no matter how big or small. And that's why I always tell people, make your first commercial deal a small one, because you don't need to have that large of a leap. So show them your track record of doing some residential deals. And I use AI to do that, because I build what I call my credibility kit using AI. It's like I put in all the deals that I've done, and I actually literally had it build my credibility kit for me, which is a series of emails. It's a web page, it's content, it's all this stuff. So people can really get to know me without actually meeting me, because we all know right now that we meet most people online. So we're not face to face. So you have to come across to people like you know what you're doing and you're credible. I use AI to raise capital, and I help other people use AI to raise capital by demonstrating again your credibility, and in that you can actually provide deal flow to investors that want to passively invest in real estate. And I really believe that There are so many people out there. There are so many people probably in your listeners' networks that are desperate for really good investment returns that your real estate deals can provide. Because having money stuck in a money market ain't getting it done. And it's almost your obligation to friends and family and people you know to show them your opportunities. And that's how I use AI, is to again deliver that content and help do outreach to them. It's all about automations and letting the system work for you to send out your newsletters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you touched on that. So do you use a CRM tool to stay in touch with people?
I do. Yeah, I do. I've actually built my own off a different platform, but I've got it, set up where I deliver content. Somebody subscribes to get some type of PDF from me, market report, how to invest in my first deal, how to take the risk out of a deal, all these kind of different pieces of content that get people interested. So then my system will take in that information and then it will start communicating with them. And then it'll ask that when they have raised their hand, do they want to meet for coffee or something like that? Do you want to meet and look at a real estate deal? So that's the goal. And then my system in the background using AI and automation is all along getting that person to know, like, and trust me. So that's key.
You had mentioned about getting credibility. Do you think it's recommended to start in residential before moving to commercial?
That's a really, really good question. So, first, I'll tell you that the far, far, far majority of all us commercial guys started in residential. So, but and I believe this to be true, that the wealthy invest in real estate using commercial real estate, not residential. I'm not saying there's not residential guys out there doing well, but the truly wealthy people that I know are in commercial real estate. And I just don't know anybody that's in commercial real estate that's not killing it. So if that's true, why delay the inevitable? Why not get into your first small commercial deal? And because it's a much better business. And believe it or not, if you have done some residential deals, you have everything that you need. You have what it takes to do your commercial deals. I just got to kind of tweak your mindset a little bit, but it's there. You have what you need to get you in your first commercial deal.
Yeah, I feel like that's good because people need motivation. Sometimes it's just overwhelming. You feel like everybody's killing it, but you got to take that first step. We talk about a lot about on these calls about 0 to 1 is the hardest part. Like if you can get to 1, now things can start moving.
Yeah, it's intimidating. Commercial real estate got a lot of myths and misconceptions out there, but it's no different from residential real estate. I got to show you how to find deals, structure deals, and close deals. That's the process. It's not any different than residential. Yeah.
Cool. You have a lot of tools and systems in place. Is there any part of your business, like if you could wave a magic wand and automate it, what would that be for you?
It would be analyzing deals. Yeah, and that's what I was just talking about. I'm like, I hope that right around the corner, where I can, upload some Excel spreadsheets, have it put things into my format, which I have. It's called like a kind of a back of the napkin analysis that will really help me kind of sort through all the deals that I look at. And then this pile is a no go. This pile is a keep looking at it type situation. So I really, really hope that's right around the corner with AI.
Have you looked into like AI voice agents or dialers to help communicate? Are you using that or have you looked into it at all?
I am not using it, but I am on the cusp of using it. And again, that's like what I was telling you, like 6 months ago, I like saw some demos on. I'm like, they're not that good. I can tell that's AI, but recently I've looked at some of this stuff and I'm like, it does not sound like it's AI anymore. These voices are really good. So in my system, that is like one of my projects in the next 90 days is to get that done. And then so I can show people how to use that. And I'm going to demonstrate that by using that in my business. Yeah.
To get
But
into
it's not only gonna be inbound, people, absorb my content, wanna raise their hand and have another conversation, but just think about for real estate investors or real estate brokers or agents, the outbound that possibilities that there are. I've got a deal. I've got to send it out to my 12 best investors. Voice AI is going to do that for me. And that is called AI automation right there.
Yep.
That's the definition.
And I've seen it work also in residential where it'll call out, it'll qualify people, and then it adds them to your CRM. So it's just like you got like this whole system working in the background that I feel like people are used to just, I got to pick up the phone and then I got to, like, it just takes, it reduces your time. But I think people are a little intimidated by the whole process.
Yeah. I mean, just walking through the workflow, I'm looking for a commercial real estate deal, or I also acquire small businesses. And that's an even better example, whether it's an e-com business or just a regular, operating company, where these business brokers have a very clunky process where you've got to get a hold of them, you got to email them, you got to call them, and then before they even talk to you, you got to sign an NDA, and then you've got to, kind of qualify who you are to some extent. All that can be done with AI and these voice agents where, these buyers are calling into a number, about a specific property. And then the voice AI is taking their information. They're going to email them directly. They're going to fire workflows inside the CRM. And then it's going to follow up with them, and then it's going to get them to sign these NDAs, kind of like a DocuSign type, workflow. It's going to take so much of the bottleneck out of the process. It's really going to free up their time.
Yeah. I've done it with business brokers. If any business brokers are listening, call me because your system sucks. I mean, it is
It's
crazy.
awful.
Yeah, it's crazy, and then I feel like a lot of times, even when you do that process, you never hear back. Yeah,
I know.
it's wild that
Nobody likes follow up. I don't think I've ever met a person that likes the grind of following up with people, whether they are qualified or not. Now, if you've got somebody that's really qualified, or you're a prospect, yeah, you're going to really kind of, those people rise to the top. But then there's all these other, the 90% of the other people that, you got to follow up with. And like you said, nobody likes to do it and nobody does it.
it does.
AI voice agents is going to do that for you to some extent.
Obviously, the CR market is changing a lot. Where do you see the biggest opportunities right now?
I think you hit it right on the head. It's voice AI, it's chat follow up, all of that type of automation that you can incorporate into your business, and where your system is just going to allow you to talk to, the most qualified people. And if they're not qualified, and if you need to nurture them more, it's going to nurture them for you. And it's going to allow people to do business with you when they're ready. And that's really, really powerful. So I think also the thing that I'm excited to see with AI is how these LLMs, evolve and come around. And again, that is something that I'm just scratching the surface with, where I can basically train this, the LLM to who I am, the deals that I can take, my 35 deals, over, 10, 15 years, upload it. It knows me. I can upload my content. It knows me. And this thing can actually, to some extent, help me do business without me being present. So,
And then speaking in your voice too, where it's
yep.
so robotic, it actually sounds like Dan.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a bot. It sounds like me. Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk to investors, do you feel like there's any niches that you're that are missing or that you're really excited about for investing in new commercial opportunities?
I think, I've been the kind of I'm a value add investor. And I think there are way too many people chasing multifamily deals. It seems like everybody and their brother wants multifamily deals. I haven't done a lot of them because the yields are so small and everybody's chasing them. Probably the same with mini storage. So I focus on the other types of, real estate value add deals where I can buy it for a good price and then put the human and financial capital in to turn it around.
Yeah. Is there any
Yeah.
deal you look back on in your past and go, "Man, that was a winner that I didn't think was gonna be a winner?"
Yeah. I pretty early on in my career, I bought a behavioral mental health hospital.
Wow.
This thing literally had the padded walls and everything. So it was a really good building, and I bought it from a REIT. And they wanted the thing off their books. I bought it for like $55 a foot or something like that. It was just a brick bomb shelter, and it was in a good location. And I knew I could basically rehab that building and turn it into a multi-tenant medical office building, carve it up into other tenants. And that deal was my career home run. So I was fortunate. It happened early on in my career, and that amount of capital really funded me for a long time and funded a lot of growth.
So, I know you talk about being in the 7th inning for where you're at, kind of what's the roadmap look for you for the next 1 to 3 years?
I think things are bottoming in commercial real estate. So I think the rates coming down is a good thing. I think there's a lot of people that are in pain with commercial real estate. And so there's going to be some property that's coming on the market. But I think there is a good opportunity to buy some of these value add deals that have been neglected, and really kind of turn them around, because there's not a lot of development right now, commercial development, because of costs are really high. Banks don't want to do those deals necessarily. So a lot of the infill, commercial real estate are going to be good opportunities.
Okay. So if people wanna get a hold of you, whether, for your business or your consulting, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can go to multiplycapital.com. And what I can offer them is a recording of a workshop that I've done that shows you step by step how to get into your first commercial real estate deal. And again, it's do yourself a favor and make it a small one.
Well, thank you, Dan. This has been really helpful.
You're welcome. Good talking to you.
Okay.